Thank you, wonderful souls, for clicking this video. Much love and respect to yourself. On today's episode, we shall be reacting to extremely interesting videos with me, YG11H, and our aim and mission is to spread love, honesty, peace, and forgiveness to the whole world. Hit the like button, watch till the end, and tell us where you're watching from kindly. Straight out of Africa with lots of good vibes. Let's dive in.
The Merkaba is simply a three-dimensional version of the idea of as above, so below. The idea that everything in spirit exists first and that whatever is in spirit can manifest, at least to some degree, in physical reality. That anything in physical reality exists first in spirit as a form, as a template that can solidify or crystallize in physical reality. So the Merkaba is simply a three-dimensional symbol, permission slip, that represents the idea of as above, so below. So if you know that, then you're connected to it. And it doesn't matter whether you're aware of that all the time, because you're focused on whatever it is that gives you passion. Just know that you're connected to it. It's as simple as that.
And I do not need, let's say that, to do, especially for this, some meditations or things.
It's up to you. It's up to you. The idea is what you're attracted to will work for you. If you're attracted to do meditations, then do them. If you're not, then don't. The idea is that, again, when you are willing to act on your passion, whatever permission slip you need to give yourself permission to be more of who you are will come in whatever form it needs to automatically through synchronicity. So you don't have to overthink this. You don't have to focus so much on the details. Just act on whatever you're excited to act on, because everything in physical reality is simply a permission slip that you use because you have a belief that says, if I do this, it will allow me to give myself permission to be more of who I am. So it's really up to you.
Is there really a difference between my ego and my soul?
Yes. Your ego is the structure that focuses your soul in a way that allows it to experience what you call physical reality. The ego structure, just by itself, its job is just to give you a physical experience. As we have often said, the analogy is sort of similar to a diving mask. If you're going to dive into the ocean, it's going to be a little blurry unless you wear a diving mask that sharpens the image for you. So the ego is simply the diving mask. It's not designed to tell you what to do or where to go. It's only designed to give you the experience that you decide to have in the clearest possible way. So when you overload the diving mask with all these ideas that it's supposed to be in charge of everything, the diving mask will, in a sense, resent that because it's not built for that. And that's what turns it into the negative ego, and that's when the diving mask cracks.
Huh. So kind of what you're saying is like the ego...
It's a personality structure.
Yeah, and the thing you just said about being in control, so that's usually what a lot of us want to be and what the ego wants to do, but you're saying the ego actually doesn't want to do that because that's not even necessarily its job.
Correct. It's not what it's designed to do.
That's so cool. So we're like doing it to ourselves.
Yes. Yes, you are. Because of the things you've been taught. The way you've been taught to think about yourselves quite often is exactly backwards from the way you really need to think about yourselves. The personality structure is like a three-sided prism. And it is that prism that breaks down the white light, the unbroken light of your consciousness, into the spectrum of your experience you call physical reality. But that's its job. That's it. It gives you that breakdown experience so you can experience time and space and process and change and discovery from a new point of view.
Like a rainbow.
Exactly. And that's its job, and that's it. It's not designed to determine what you should do with that rainbow.
Glitches caught on camera, real life glitches in the matrix. Weird crazy stuff. My friends, look at this. Oh, what? Where did the car go? Wait a minute. Oh my god, this is crazy. Look at the ship behind there. Oh, it's like they have just decided to pause for a minute there. What's up? This is unbelievable.
Have you ever realized that the Matrix is telling the exact same story as the Tarot? So Neo, or shall I say Thomas Anderson, starts off as the Fool, a computer programmer that is completely unaware of reality beyond the Matrix, but then embarks on a journey to become the Magician. Okay, so let's break it all down. This was inspired by the Diary of Domestic Tarot workbook, which breaks down the Fool's journey, which is the story of the major arcana. It mirrors the hero's journey. Hero's journey is a classic story structure you might recognize from Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, also in classic myths like Hercules, Perseus, and even King Arthur. Let's get back to Neo. Hero's journey starts in the ordinary world, which is represented by card number 0, the Fool. Next, we have the call to action, which happens when the message "Follow the White Rabbit" appears on Neo's computer screen. Then there's the refusal of the call. The hero will initially reject the call, but this is their destiny and it's already in motion. There's a knock on Neo's door and he gets invited to a party. He initially says no, then he notices she has a white rabbit tattoo. Next step of the hero's journey is for the protagonist to meet their mentors. And Morpheus fits the archetype of the Hierophant, which represents the subconscious mind, obedience, education, and structure. It's the masculine counterpart to the High Priestess, which is represented by Trinity, which represents hidden knowledge, intuition, and the inner world. And the Lover's card represents Neo and Trinity's partnership. Oh, and I have to show you guys these stunning modern depictions from the Artist Decoded Tarot. Okay, back to Neo. The one, card number 1. The Magician. Next, our hero must cross the threshold. In Neo's case, this is when he is presented with the opportunity to take the red or blue pill. We can see parallel symbolism in the Chariot with the white and black Sphinx, which leads us to the Strength card. Morpheus pushes him to find bravery, confidence, and inner power. Now, the next step of our hero's journey is called Tests, Allies, and Enemies. We start off with the Hermit card, where Neo actually begins to embody this archetype himself, where he withdraws a bit into his own inner wisdom. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune, which can represent an abrupt change of events, but also karma, fate, and destiny, where the Oracle tells Neo he's not the one. Which leads us to the Justice card, where Neo decides to do the right thing and go back into the Matrix to save Morpheus. The next part of the hero's journey is to approach the innermost cave, and that's represented by the Hanged Man card, which can represent uncertainty as well as sacrifice. And the next step of the hero's journey is called the Ordeal, which is represented by the Death card. This is where the action, matrixy stuff kicks in, and this is where he has to fight Agent Smith, which is our Devil card, which represents oppression, obsession, materialism, and limitations. Now, a little out of order, but this leads to our Temperance card. Neo's getting his ass kicked and then all of a sudden finds balance, peace within himself, which allows him to use all of the abilities that he's built up to this point. And this card also represents alchemy, where he can take everything that he's learned as the Magician and put it to real life use. Then we have our Tower moment. In the hero's journey, this is called the Resurrection. This is where our hero is severely tested one last time. In the Matrix, that's when Cypher betrays Neo. And for a moment, it seems that Neo might get stuck in the Matrix forever. Then we have the Star card, which represents hope, renewal, and rejuvenation. This is where Neo has an actual literal resurrection, and Trinity whispers to him that she loves him. Then we have the Moon, the Sun, and Judgment, which in the hero's journey is called Return with the Elixir. This is when the hero has been resurrected, purified, and can return back to their original world with a newfound knowledge. Neo's elixir is himself. He is the one. And then we end with my favorite card, the World, which represents completion, achievement, fulfillment, but in this case, quite literally, actually represents the real world outside of the Matrix. Now, if you're wondering, why do we keep using this same story structure over and over for thousands of years? Because it's our story. It's a personal story of self-discovery. If you're thinking about your own hero's journey, I came up with 12 journal prompts to help you reflect on what is your hero's journey. Who are your mentors? What about your tests, allies, and enemies? Like this one, imagine looking back on your life from the perspective of a wise elder. What legacy do you hope to leave behind? And how do you want to be remembered?
Raptor mode on. Whoa! Look at this. Which creature is that inside the stone? Oh, it's a lizard man trying to reach you for the meat there. Wow. That is interesting. And in other places of the world. Wait. Or this is a comparison between the size of some country there and other countries in Africa. Oh, this is crazy. Which country is shaped like this? Oh my god. Oh, wait. What is going on here? Huh. This is very weird. My friend, what are they comparing? Oh my god.
This is actually incredible. For the first time, we've actually observed an animal treating its own wounds with a plant that holds medicinal properties. Here's the research paper in case you want to read. The orangutan was left with a wound on its face after getting into a fight. A few days later, it was seen consuming a plant that isn't usually a part of its diet. The orangutan chewed up the leaves and formed a paste, which it then rubbed on the wound, and about 8 days later, the wound closed up. And a month later, it was completely healed, left with a slight scar. Now, the question on researchers' minds is whether this is something that the orangutan was taught by other orangutans, perhaps growing up, or if this is a natural instinct present in all orangutans since birth.
This is a banger, baby. This is what I'm talking about. Musicians have been telling us forever who they are. Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. Let's expose the music industry for what it is. And we're going to do it one step at a time, and I'm going to walk us all through it because I'm still learning about this myself. But you know what? When you start to go back and read the lyrics to these songs, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, bells start going off. Sympathy for the Devil. Who are they? Who are the Rolling Stones? Who are the stars? Who are the celebrities? Let's find out right now. I'll put the lyrics up on the screen. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year, stole many a man's soul to waste. And I was round when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Now, if you're following me, you know who they're saying they are. And if you don't, read the Bible, read the book of Enoch, start doing some studying. We'll go over it after this, but there's a reason why these people say, they tell you, they show us, they do it in everything. Everything is encoded in numerology, is in the language, the words that they speak. This is why they have been changing language, adding words to the dictionary. They don't want us to understand words, so they can say things out loud. They can tell us to our face what they're doing, and we don't even get it. It's been happening forever. This is exactly what's going on. So let's break it down. If you're starting to snap out of something, you know there's something going on at this point. And if you don't know there's something going on, you should be concerned about it. All right? This is a spiritual war we're fighting in this world. So we have to learn about our enemy. This is how you do it. You break it down. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. It's not puzzling me anymore. I know exactly the nature of the game. I stuck around St. Petersburg when I saw it was time for a change. Killed the Tsar and his ministers. Anastasia screamed in vain. I rode a tank, held a general's rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the bodies stank. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. Oh yeah. What's puzzling you is the nature of my game. It's not puzzling me anymore. It's not. I know exactly what they're doing. I watched with glee while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the gods they made. I shouted out Who could kill the Kennedys? After all, it was you and me. Let me please introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste, and I laid traps for troubadours who get killed before they reached Bombay. He's talking about all the wars and all the corruption and all the sin, all right, that they suck us into with their bullshit, with their politics, with their countries, with their division. It's just to divide us, split us up, make us fight amongst each other, make us kill each other. It's all nonsense. Just as every cop is a criminal and all the sinners saints as heads and tails. Just call me Lucifer, 'cause I'm in need of some restraint. They say it right to our faces. I'll stop. The fallen angels, this is what he's saying. These artists, this industry, all of it is, this is what it is, man. I'm spelling it out to you. And if you're not following me, then I pray for you. And that's the damn truth. Because they tell us, I don't know really why. I haven't figured that part out yet. I think they have to. I think it's a rule. Like, they have to disclose that they're trying to steal your soul from you. They have to disclose it. I think, but when you get hip to it, when you start to learn it, when you start to learn what they're doing, understand what they're doing, you don't have to let it happen. You don't let it in. I don't let any of their satanic science, their fake gods, their bullshit, it doesn't penetrate me anymore. I have a spiritual shield. I swear to God, I think it could block a bullet at this point. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, and how to conquer the real evil in this world, then hit me up. If not, again, like I said, you can swipe, you can be rude, I'll block you, you'll learn the hard way. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's all good. I love you all, and as of course, I'm gonna do my famous "This is for your entertainment" tagline, and I'll quickly explain why I do it in every video, because there are rules of engagement. And the rule states that in order for you to say things that hold any factual weight to them, it has to be factual. And fact to these companies that own the world is determined by a fact checker. And I've done multiple videos on fact checkers, and to become one, it's kind of a joke. So excuse me if I don't care to be fact checked by an 18-year-old in his tighty whities picking his nose in his mom's basement. Sorry. So I will do my famous tagline because I actually like it at this point. Ready? Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, this is for your entertainment. I love you all.
We are going through a mass awakening on this planet right now. Millions of people are waking up and realizing that we've been lied to our entire lives. A big part of that process as well is the realization that our history has been rewritten. We were not taught the story of creation. We were all taught some form of Big Bang theory, evolutionary theory, some form of everything came from nothing. But why? Why were we not taught the story of creation? Before we jump into this, I want to look at a good biblical timeline to give ourselves a visual here. Now, I'm going to be speaking from Genesis 6, and at this point in time, we've got about 1,000 years that has passed. So about 1,000 years of man being on the earth. We are still very early on in creation. We haven't even, the flood hasn't happened, right? We are right here. Very early on. Now at this point, Satan is pretty happy with what he's done, right? He caused the fall of mankind. Cain killed Abel. He's got some major sinning going on. He knows though that at some point God is going to send a savior that is to be born of a woman. So in his head, he has to do something to prevent that, right? He has to do something to mankind to prevent the savior being born of a woman. So let's look at what he does. It's very important to remember that when Satan fell from heaven, he brought a third of the angels with him. So that created fallen angels on earth. These were angels that were now worshiping and following Satan. Now let's go to scripture, see what Satan did. This is Genesis 6. It says, "Now it happened when men began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and desirable." So what is happening here? These sons of God are the fallen angels that left heaven and chose to follow Satan. So we have demonic angels that are on the earth, and they're attracted to the women that are being born. They're wanting to take them for themselves. Further down it says, "There were Nephilim, men of stature, notorious men on the earth in those days and also afterwards." When we look at the origin of Nephilim, it means fallen ones or giants. So we have a very clear picture about what is going on here. These Nephilim are being born onto the earth because these fallen angels were sleeping with the women. So let's go back to the scripture, sum this all up. "There were Nephilim on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God lived with the daughters of men and they gave birth to their children." So final picture here, we have these fallen angels, these demonic angels that are following Satan. They're sleeping with the women. They're giving birth to literal hybrid humans. So very early on in creation, we already have hybrid human giants, these demonic angel giant things that are walking the earth, these hybrid humans that are now walking the earth, and they do not have good intentions. Now let's go to part 2 because we're just getting started on this story.
Now, people that have gotten involved with channeling, it's like channeling is one of the best ways to get possessed that you could ever imagine, you know? And we were seduced into that in the New Age movement. And so it was so smooth the way it was done. This was an Anunnaki trick. Okay, fallen angelic Anunnaki races did this very, very well. They taught us how wonderful it was to finally have somebody out there through there talking to us that we didn't even ask who it was. We didn't care. At least somebody was talking to us. You know, at least there was somebody's out there. We're not alone down here. And then they tell us wonderful things like things about Christ consciousness that we really, really wanted to find out about because we had a resonance to that. And they could lead us like little babies, lead us through the channeling movement without telling us anything about the fact that what they were doing is biofield attachment and keeping us amused and distracted over here. Oh yes, here's how you manifest what you want here. Excuse me while I plug myself into your kundalini and sap your life force, this kind of thing. They didn't tell you about that part of it. You don't need to be a channel. There's a lot of channels that walk around. I'm a channel. It's like, impress me. Yeah. We're all channels, hate to tell you. Okay? Everybody here channels frequency and energy. The thing is, what they mean by I'm a channel means I'm talking to somebody important that's above and beyond this reality field. This is the attitude that tends to go with the channeling thing, where I'm talking to somebody more important, so therefore I have more knowledge, so you need to listen to me. It's like a power play. Some of them are sweet about it. Others are really arrogant and obnoxious about it. What they don't realize is they're confessing their own level of lack of development. You don't need to have somebody else come and talk through your mouth when you know how to speak through your own. You don't need somebody to say, "Hi, I'm an angel, I'll tune every once in a while and fix things for you," when you're a Christos being and you know how to be your own angelic force, because you can access even more information than the angels have, because angels are D6 consciousness. You have a level of D6 consciousness. Archangels, they're into the oversoul realm. You have oversouls. These are still baby realms. These are the guys that people are listening to in the New Age movement. Hi, I'm Archangel so-and-so. You know, hi, I'm Angel so-and-so. Aren't I sweet and pretty? I'll talk to you nice and I'll tell you all sorts of wonderful things you want to hear, so you'll follow me blindly and do what I ask you to do and not worry about taking responsibility for yourself. We have been seduced in this culture. There's two things happening: seduction and terror. When you deal with draconian matrix teachings, you usually get terror. They just teach you God's going to hate you and flatten your world if you don't follow A, B, C, and D, period, and you have to talk to the priest on a regular basis because he's your link to God. Traditional stuff is built on that. The seduction is even harder to spot because it's telling us everything we want to hear. Yes, we can be free. Yes, we can be Christos. Yes, we can talk to things that are higher than here. We even have parts of ourselves higher than here. Nothing like getting half ascension teachings given to you when you've had none. Half looks really good when you didn't have any to start with. We don't need either of those things as Christos beings. because we come to realize that any information that's up there and out there that any of those guys can access, we can access too, but in the most perfectly personal way. You might not get verbal translation. You might not have your Christos self level talk to you verbally. You may get it in direct cognition where you suddenly just know. What do I do with this? I don't know. Get out of your own way. Go do something relaxing. Look out at the snow and how pretty it is. And then tune back in and say, what do I feel about this? And if you're running your Maharic seal, you will begin to get an imprint from your D12 divine blueprint, which will override any distortions that are coming through from the emotional body that has connections to twisted grids in the planetary grid, so you can't always tell if what feels good is good for you. You know, you will be able to establish these lines of communication.
Oh, look at this, my friends. Scary real footages found. Oh, look at this guy. They can see everything. Look at these eyes. Oh, good vibes guy has eyes all over his body. Is this a normal condition? How is this possible even? Oh my god. Wow. And another kid was born with an eye on their forehead. And not just one. Oh my god. How is this possible? Is this as a result of laboratory experiments or what's up? Wonderful things. Oh, these are strange times we are living in. Perfectly the best time for humans to unite and spread love, you see? Oh my god. Now can all those eyes see? Or how does it work? Oh my god, this is unbelievable.
Y'all, I made a YouTube video recently talking about the power of Psalms and how Psalms can change your life. It can enhance your magic, your rituals, your spells, if you're a witch, if you're a hoodoo, whatever you do. Psalms is amazing. So some Psalms that I love to use and some that I can testify to, Psalms 57. Psalms 57 literally opened so many doors and opportunities for me. It can be used to turn your luck around. You can also use Psalm 72 if you need any help with financial issues, if you need some money. If you're looking to open roads, opportunities for you as well, Psalms 19 and 23. If you're looking to remove evil from your home, exorcist tile, Psalm 67. Not Psalm 67, Psalm 69. But you also have to be proactive, because what is prayer without action? It's just like driving a car with no gas in it. You have to actually put effort into a thing. You have to actually put action into the things that you want. If you need to calm your mind from anxiety, Psalms 3, and so on and so forth.
The next technique is CIA is using for torture.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, it'll work. It'll get him.
This big I'll cut your throat. Please don't go out close on me.
It'll get him, Pop.
Ha! What is going on here? Which creature is this? And in other places, disc-shaped flying objects. What does that look like to you, my friends? Oh.
There it is! Son of a gun! Right down the middle of the road!
Okay, state on origin? Right. Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Gosh.
In the way they're running frequency, there's been a problem in the electromagnetic fields on the planet, and that has created severe mutation in the DNA of all life forms on the planet. There was a time when life on Earth had what was called a variable base genetic code. That means the genetic alphabet, which are the chemical components of the DNA chains, were made out of a different amount of chemicals. A frog would have one amount of chemical combinations, a human would have another amount, a tree would have another amount. Right now, science was amazed to find, when they started to get into DNA, that everything appears to have what's called a base 4 genetic alphabet. That literally 4 chemicals that combined into different combinations are what make up the gene code of all things. So they assume that that's the way it is. They assume that's normal. That is not normal. This whole planet right now is under a base 4 genetic mutation called the checkerboard DNA mutation that is being caused because of a distortion in the electromagnetic fields on the planet. Now, when we get into Cathara in the next 2 days, we're going to learn how an electromagnetic field distortion on the planet could actually affect the DNA of life forms, how that could actually happen. Because we're going to learn about something called the Planetary Biofeed Interface System, which is the system by which primal life force currents come through from source through the universal matrix into the galactic matrix, into the planetary matrix, and into the bodies of everything on the planet. This is how we have our consciousness connection to primal energy, which is the primal consciousness and intelligence of source. These energies are supposed to flow in a very specific way. We get energy fed to us from the planet. This is how our spirit downloads into our body. It goes through the planetary grids and back into our fields. Because the planetary grids have been damaged, our Mother Earth Terra Gaia here, our planet, is ill. It has been ill since 25,500 BC, actually before that, but the real illness set in then. There has been this mutation that has existed in the gene code that has blocked out most of the DNA. It's done that by blocking out most of the DNA template. So we're going to learn about what a DNA template is as opposed to the chemical DNA. We're going to learn about the body systems, the interwoven subtle energy systems, like chakras and meridians and axiotonal lines and things called Huva bodies and Cathara grids and crystal seals that are all part of the regulatory system of the DNA template, all of which work together to create what manifests as the chemical DNA chains. The reason we are stuck here is because most of our DNA has been turned off. What science looks at now and calls junk DNA, which are sequences of DNA that appear to not produce proteins. They appear to be dormant and don't do anything. They just sit there in the DNA chains. They didn't always sit there. Once upon a time, they were filled with things that created chemicals, created proteins, created building blocks for life. As we work with Cathara, we will be able to trace where the distortions are, and we don't need a laboratory to begin the process of reverse mutation. Reverse mutation of the genome, the human genome, which means bringing it back to its original base 12 potential. Base 12 means there were 12 chemical components that made up the DNA chains on a physical level. It meant there were 12 strand templates on the subtle body levels that when it works right, they come into manifestation, manifest the chemicals, and with those chemicals we are able to hold 12 dimensions of consciousness, which is the consciousness of what is known as an avatar. We were all born to be avatars. We were born to be, some of us, ascended masters. We'll talk a little bit in this course about indigo children. That's a buzzword in the New Age movement now. Indigo children, they're special, they're something. What are they? You know? We'll talk a little bit about that because they're a human form, but they have a DNA template that goes beyond 12 strands. They have from 24 to 48 strand potential because they came here as part of a rescue mission. They're a species, a Lyran-Syrian species of human consciousness that came to help reset the templates of the DNA here on this planet. Most people that are drawn to this work are indigo children, but they don't know it. Indigos don't know they're indigos till they wake up. Humans don't know they're supposed to be angelic until they wake up. So we're all stuck down here wondering, what do I do with myself next? If you look at life in the three-dimensional term, and you look at the options our societies give us, it can be really, really depressing. Because you get to the point where, okay, you work all this time, you work really, really, really hard, so you can make what? Money. So why? So you can have a roof over your head and maybe a nice life. And by the time you make enough money to get that roof over your head and have a nice life, most of the time you've run so much energy through your body and exhausted yourself so much that your body falls apart. So you get to sit in a nice house and call the doctor. And then what you want more than anything, and you're even willing to give up your nice house to have it, is your health back. It's almost like if God made it this way on purpose, he had a very strange sense of humor. Slightly masochistic, slightly sadistic. God is not a sadist. What we are living here was not the intended divine blueprint of this planetary system. What is happening here has hung us up in an evolutionary time warp where we're actually de-evolving instead of moving forward in our evolution back into the full avatar expression that we were created to be. It's not just us that's being affected, not just humans are being affected by this particular genetic mutation. Every life form on this planet, because every life form is connected to the planetary grids, is suffering right now. Animals are trapped in a very unnatural relationship where they have to energy vampire off each other, which means they have to kill each other in order to simply sustain. That's where you get your food chain. That's not natural either. It is natural on planets that are not able to run the higher frequency currents of the primal life force currents. If this planet were running the full spectrum of 15-dimensional currents, and particularly the first 12 of those 15, it would be very different here. Lions and lambs would lay down with each other. Humans would not kill each other. It would be the type of reality that our holy books have promised us exists, a reality that is very heavenly indeed. The beginning of returning the potentials of having a heaven on earth starts with each person, because human beings were created as an angelic species that was appointed as the guardians of this planet. We were supposed to help the other life forms on this planet to evolve into their full expression of their divine blueprints. We were supposed to be loving keepers of the planetary Templar complex, which is something we'll talk about next weekend that has to do with stargates. Somewhere along the line, we got in trouble. And right now, we are functioning with the animals, with the plants, in a way that's completely not organic for our consciousness. There is a pain that every one of us carries. It is a soul pain, a very deep soul pain, that knows something vital has been robbed from us. Some of us turn that pain into anger. Some people are born angry. They carry that feeling, that knowing, that they have been somehow victimized. Now, there is a victimization taking place here, but there is a point of consciousness that happens to exist in the higher dimensional fields where you start to understand the victim-victimizer game and you don't get trapped in it anymore. But when you have your consciousness shut off at D3 and somebody tells you, well, victim-victimizer is just a game, you don't have to play it, it doesn't seem quite real. Nice concept, but it doesn't change the fact that I feel awful, you know? And great, okay, the New Age movement, you're manifesting this. Okay, I take responsibility, I'm manifesting this. How do I stop manifesting this? How do I get control over my life so I can live in a way that is peaceful and loving and joyful? So I feel that I am at one with Source. So I have a loving relationship with God and with other things. How do I bring that potential back? The beginning of that is bringing back the consciousness, the part of your consciousness that right now holds that knowledge in a higher dimensional field. The way you can bring that consciousness back in is to open up the conduits in the subtle body that will open up the chemicals in the DNA body that will allow those frequencies of consciousness to come in to your mind and your body here, so you can have access to your higher consciousness. This is why Kathara is not only a system that will begin the process of healing the physical body, it is a spiritual healing system in the greatest sense of the word. It is a healing system that will begin the process of bringing you as an avatar consciousness literally back into focus here, where you don't have to feel trapped anymore. You don't have to feel like you have to resign yourself to the fact that death and illness and taxes are the only thing that life is about down here. One of the things that when you begin to realize what you really are, before you realize who you are, you need to realize what you are. You're in a human form. What is that? What does it mean? You know, once you know that, you start to realize something. There's a big lie that's been told here for a long time. Be afraid of death. We're taught to be scared of dying, as if we, who we are, our identity, stops when the physical body stops. Science, especially, will tell you that consciousness is a byproduct of electrical things happening in the brain. It just so happens to be there. And when the brain is no longer there, consciousness, therefore,